Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first Live at 4 of 2019. Charlotte Deleste in for Susan Simon, who's on the morning show this morning.
It's still all messed up
So I
from
think
the
she's
holidays.
back tomorrow.
Yes.
And then we'll get back to normal. So it's been a good holiday season.
Yeah, can't complain.
It's always nice when they're over, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's nice to get back into some type of groove of normalcy.
And we will do that as we continue in this hour. Here's what we're making news today. We're learning more about the fire captain who died trying to help someone who crashed Monday night on the Beltline.
It has been an emotional and draining couple of days for Captain Truman's family. You'll hear from his fiancée and the kids he helped raise.
Plus, political reporter Jessica Arp sits down one-on-one with Tony Evers discussing how he plans to spend his first week on the job as Wisconsin's new governor. It's all coming up, but first, a little snowy today.
Oh, just a little bit.
Winter's
Happy New Year, right?
Yeah, winter is finally here, and the snow enthusiasts can get out and enjoy, but the snow may be temporary. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is in the backyard patio with us today. A warm-up on the way.
Yeah, temperatures should be back above freezing for tomorrow, by only a few degrees, but then it looks like we'll be close to 40 on Friday and be in the 40s for Saturday and probably Sunday as well. As we take a look at visible cloud track, we've had clouds and some light snow for much of the day, low clouds at best, but you can see some breaks in the overcast to the north and west of Madison. I'm actually seeing a few right now in the backyard, a little sunshine trying to poke its way through. Another little batch of clouds coming through this evening, and then skies will pretty much clear out for good by early tomorrow morning. Now, as we take a look at Doppler track, the steadier snow from this morning has shifted off to the east. There might still be a couple of flurries in a spot or two, but those will be few and far between. In fact, if we take a look at visibilities right now, they're at or above 10 miles across our entire viewing area. So if there are flakes coming down, there are just a few of them. Low temperatures this morning started out generally in the teens. Here in Madison, we dropped to 19 degrees. Farther to the north and west, there were some clear spots, and temperatures like in Black River Falls dropped to 4 degrees, and it was even much colder than that to the north and west. High temperatures so far today here in Madison. We've topped out at 25, been stuck at 24 for the last few hours, and wind chills right now are generally in the low to mid-teens, so it does feel a little chilly out there. By tomorrow morning, temperatures will be down to the upper teens, but we'll look for skies to clear out. That means sunshine during the day tomorrow with a high temperature of 34, a little warmer than today. And again, we'll be looking at warmer weather as we head further on down the line. As we take a look at first alert traffic, there's the live view from the DOT camera at the Beltline and Park Street. Traffic moving very nicely in both directions. Not seeing any problems right now on the Beltline. A little bit of a slowdown northbound on Verona Road approaching the Beltline. One on Stoughton Road heading northbound from the Beltline as well, and also on East Washington Avenue near Easttown Shopping Mall. South and east of Madison, the main highways in pretty good shape. I-39, 90 down to Beloit, I-94 into Milwaukee, and US 12 into southeastern Wisconsin, as are the roads up to the north. I-39 into central Wisconsin, I-90, 94 through the Dells, and US 151 through Beaver Dam. That's your first alert traffic.
Gary, thank you.
You're welcome.
Top in our news today, a Lake Mills fire captain killed on New Year's Eve by a suspected drunk driver is being remembered as a hero. Captain Chris Truman was a 13-year veteran of the Lake Mills Fire Department. He stopped to help a woman who had lost control of her car on the Beltline during Monday night's snow before him being hit by another car. He is being credited with saving that woman's life after telling her to get back to safety in her own car before the second crash. Colleagues and friends say Truman was the type of person who loved helping others.
He was coming to my house that night when we got the call. So it's been difficult. The fact that he died helping someone actually means a lot to me because it exemplifies who he was.
Truman leaves behind a fiancée and her 3 children.
Truman's family is talking about their loss. News 3's Keely Arthur shares some of their memories. She joins us live from near the Beltline where Truman helped save another life. Keely?
That's right. The Beltline is where Captain Chris Truman tried to help someone. He lost his life. The family says Monday night was far from his only heroic act. Now, as you mentioned, Truman leaves behind fiancée Amber Turfel and her 3 children who he helped look after for more than a decade. At a news conference today, Amber called him the love of her life, adding that anytime Truman saw someone injured or stranded on the road, he stopped no matter what. And Monday night, he was doing exactly what he always had.
He was an amazing man. He would go out of his way for anyone. He loved what he did. He wouldn't regret ever getting out of that car. And whoever was in that car shouldn't blame themselves, because he would have done it no matter what. He was just a really amazing guy.
Now, the family of the woman Truman stopped to help Monday wrote a note to the Lake Mills Fire Department, which says in part, quote, "I know that all of you are grieving. I don't know if this will help, but your captain saved my daughter's life last night. He is forever our angel." And Truman's fiance, Amber, has a message to anyone thinking about drunk driving. She says, do not do it. Again, the police say the man who hit Truman was drinking during that Monday night accident and incident. We're going to hear more from Amber and one of her daughters coming up on News 3 at 5 and 6.
Keely, thank you.
And firefighters across the state are honoring Captain Truman. A procession was held today as Captain Truman's body was taken to a funeral home in Lake Mills. EMS and fire crews from many local departments lined the streets of Lake Mills to honor the captain, saluting him as his body arrived. And community members will also meet at the fire department tonight to discuss ways that they can help Captain Truman's family during this tough time. Anyone with ideas on how to help his family can attend. The meeting starts at 6 p.m.
An 81-year-old woman is recovering after her car was hit by a suspected drunk driver. This happened near Easttown Mall on East Washington Avenue at about 11 o'clock last night. Madison police say 47-year-old Chad Martin was driving the wrong way down East Wash with his lights off and crashed head-on into a car driven by an elderly couple. He then ran from the scene but was arrested at his mom's house. The female driver broke several bones. The crash closed East Washington for about 90 minutes.
Criminalizing first offense drunken driving is on the list of changes being considered by Governor-elect Tony Evers. News 3 sat down with Evers today ahead of his inauguration next week, and Chief Political Reporter Jessica Harp is here with what he's looking forward to and what he's saying about these drunken driving charges.
Yeah, Evers agreed this is heavily on the minds of folks in our area. Given this tragic crash over the holiday weekend, it's just one of a number of changes he's considering as he prepares to take office in less than a week. Evers is still in the midst of hiring cabinet secretaries and in the early phases of formulating a state budget. He tells us tonight that he'll include a planned $1.4 billion increase in funding for public schools, as well as a Medicaid expansion. We also asked whether he would consider measures criminalizing first offense drunken driving in that budget or other legislation.
We have to change, there's obviously a cultural thing in the state that we have to work on. But we have to find ways to make that first offense more meaningful to the offender so that they don't offend again or don't offend the very first time. Now, whether that's making it a felony or not, I'm not sure. There might be some in-between places we can be, but clearly we have to send to the people of Wisconsin. We just lost a firefighter.
Evers says the part of the budget that may include this measure hasn't yet been finished, so he hasn't decided whether it would be included in that spending plan. Evers also says he hasn't yet decided how he will pay for roads in his first state budget, but he has decided how he'll spend part of his first week in office. We'll explain where he intends to visit during that first week on News 3 at 5. We should also learn tomorrow more about his cabinet secretaries. He's planning to announce the final round of them in a news conference tomorrow morning. We know Department of Health Services and Department of Children and Families are both high-profile positions he hasn't yet hired.
And all those positions have to be approved by the Senate.
That's right. Yeah, they'll all have to go through the advise and consent process, so they'll have to ultimately approve them. At this point, we've only heard issues with the possible transportation secretary with Republicans. We haven't heard others. We also did ask him today. He had been lobbied by some to include Republicans in his administration. There's no known folks that he's hired thus far. He said actually that was not necessarily consideration. He told us today that he hadn't actually asked anyone whether they were a Republican or a Democrat when he was making these hires.
Interesting. All right, we'll find out who else is on the cabinet tomorrow.
That's right.
Jessica, thank you.
You're welcome.
And the National Rifle Association spent more than $870,000 campaigning against Evers. Data compiled by the government watchdog group Wisconsin Democracy Campaign shows the NRA's Federal Political Action Committee spent the money against Evers.
President Trump sounded optimistic during a cabinet meeting before hosting congressional Democrats and Republicans at the White House. It has been 12 days since parts of the government closed, and both sides are at odds over funding a border wall. The Trump administration has suggested Democrats are divided, saying Senate Democrats were open to a deal, while blaming soon-to-be House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for holding up a possible compromise. Democratic leaders say that is not the case, and they've been on the same page the entire time. About 800,000 federal workers are still working without pay or furloughed. In just 10 days, they will feel the full financial hit of the shutdown unless the president and Congress act soon. Nearly 30 people are dead after a part of an apartment building collapsed in Russia. More than a dozen other residents are still unaccounted for. Russian emergency officials say there was an explosion of some sort Monday morning, believed to have been caused by a gas leak.
NASA's mission team is celebrating the first clear look at its most distant target. The target is an icy object more than 4 billion miles from Earth. The first image looked like a blurry bowling pin, but now better images are arriving, and now it looks more like a snowman. And team members say it is roughly the size of Washington, D.C. They're calling it Ultima Thule, meaning beyond the known world. The New Horizons spacecraft snapped the pictures during a flyby on New Year's Day. It sent the image through space 1 pixel at a time to mission headquarters in Maryland.
Basically chasing it down in the dark at 32,000 miles an hour, and all that had to happen just right.
Ultima Thule sits on the frozen fringes of our solar system. Scientists believe it was formed over 4 billion years ago out of 2 separate lobes. The New Horizons spacecraft has been in flight since 2006 and its unprecedented rendezvous with Pluto in 2015 is now 1 billion miles beyond that point and still hurtling toward the outer edge of the solar system. This whole thing makes my head hurt.
I know. I'm trying to expand on all of these thoughts, and I can't go there right now.
It's been, what, 12 years in space. It's unbelievable. Pretty cool.
Very cool stuff.
Ultimate Thule. Well, there's more to come at 4. When we come back, we have this month's Tastemakers segment.
And we'll head to the Landmark Creamery in Belleville. This is America's Dairyland at its finest. That's when Live at 4 continues.
A new program hopes to stop overcrowding in one of the world's most visited cities.
Around 30 million people visit Venice, Italy every year, and locals say the city has become a Disneyland for tourists. Its famed canals are a picture-perfect setting for people visiting Italy. To deal with the crowds, the city plans to charge tourists who come for only a day up to $11.50. The new tax will be highest at peak tourist times. It's not clear yet how or when it will be imposed. The city's mayor says money would go toward keeping the city clean. Since 1951, the city's population has plummeted to fewer than 55,000 people, but it can see, on average, more than 80,000 visitors per day.
Because of those cruise ships.
Other cities in Italy are also looking into a similar fee.
Just too beautiful, I guess. Well, to help prevent traffic jams, some major cities like New York are considering charging fees for vehicle access. And this is causing drivers to consider alternative forms of transportation. One of the newest is this three-wheeled electric vehicle known as the Solo, made by Electrica Mechanica. As a one-seater, the Solo is sparking a debate about whether it's a motorcycle or a car. The Solo is classified as a motorcycle, but no helmets required. And in Los Angeles, it's allowed to use the HOV lane. The vehicle's creator says the Solo is safe.
We have front crash testing, and we've incorporated what we learned from that into the construction of the vehicle. You have side reinforced doors. You have a roll bar that's built into the cabin.
The Solo costs about $15,000. It can drive 100 miles on a single charge. About 5,000 Solos are set to hit the streets next year.
The price of stamps is going up at the end of the month. The Forever stamp is going up from 50 cents to 55 cents on January 27th. Reports indicate the United States Postal Service is trying to offset losses from this past year, which are around $4 billion. If you are thinking of making a career switch in this new year, it turns out you are not alone. New research shows a lot of people don't love their jobs. The Motley Fool website points to a survey from Great Place to Work. It shows 60% of employees say they are unhappy with their jobs, and that means only 40% are satisfied at work.
Well, Wall Street struggled for direction in their rocky start to the new year. The Dow was off over 400 points at the opening bell, but rebounded, closing up 18 points. Closing at, those numbers weren't right, 23,346. The NASDAQ Composite Index was added 30. The S&P 500 was up 3, so up all around.
Well, for the past several years, Anna Landmark and Anna Thomas Bates were cheese-making nomads. They were selling their wares wherever they could. But
in 2017, a successful Kickstarter campaign allowed them to build a permanent home in Belleville. In this month's Tastemaker segment, Madison Magazine's Andrea Bain checks out the Landmark Creamery.
Well, we are here with the Annas of Landmark Creamery, Anna Landmark and Anna Thomas Bates. Thank you guys for having us in here. And so we have on the table here a couple of the things you serve in-house. Can you tell me what these two items are?
So we do grilled cheese sandwiches with all of our own cheeses. We have 3 different types, and we can do a classic grilled cheese, or we can add some fancy condiments, mostly made by Quince and Apple here in Madison.
What's in this one?
So this is Pipit, which is a sheep milk Gouda, along with Quince and Apple's pear and ginger jam.
So it has a little sweetness to it.
Just a little bit. And then we always do house-made pickles. So these are house-made bread and butter pickles with a little bit of garam masala.
Cool. And you are a grilled cheese champion, is that right?
Yeah, so there's a fun competition in Dodgeville every April with lots of different categories. So I usually manage to snag a trophy each year for one of my sandwiches.
And this is one of your cheese boards that you offer?
Yeah, we do cheese boards in-house, and we also are happy to make cheese boards for people's parties and weddings. And here we have some Potter's crackers, olives, pimentos cheese, and it's a recipe from Martha's Pimento Cheese. She used to make it in Milwaukee. We have Tallgrass Reserve, which is our pasture-grazed cow milk cheese, and we use milk from Upland's Cheese Company for that cheese. Our award-winning Petite Nuage, it just got a gold medal at the American Cheese Society competition this past summer.
That's one of your kind of trademarks here,
yes,
right?
It is, yeah. It was the cheese that we launched the company with.
Oh, okay. great. And this one here?
And that is Pecora Nocciola, and that is a special 2-year aged edition that we only have here and actually at Harvest Restaurant in town. So in the back we have 4 rooms which will have different temperatures and humidities, and we age our cheeses in-house, which is nice because we've been nomadic for so long. We make our cheeses at Cedar Grove near Spring Green, and before we were renting aging space, now we'll bring that in-house, and now we have the shop and an office, and it's...
All of our cheeses in the store are available for tasting. Anybody who comes in here, we're happy to cut a little piece to taste. And then we do some specialty things seasonally, like we have a little fondue kit that we sell over the holiday season, which is a mix of 2 of our cheeses, and we put the little recipe on the back, so it's easy for people to put it in a pot, add some wine, and have a nice little fondue party. You know, at the cheese boards for Christmas parties or weddings also are something that we're doing more of these days.
So can you guys give me just a little bit of background on how you guys got started with Landmark Creamery?
So we initially met actually at a potluck with a group of farm women, a group that's kind of morphed into now calling itself the Soil Sisters. And so they do a weekend tourism event every August, but we kind of met each other at one of those first early potlucks quite a few years ago, and just had a lot in common. I was working on getting my cheesemaker license at the time, and we would just get together for cocktails every once in a while, and we're talking about how challenging it was going to be to do all the marketing and the making, and how I was going to get this business off the ground, and it just kind of felt like a good partnership. So with Anna's background in journalism, a lot of the relationships that she had with Madison chefs, it worked out really well. So we launched the company together, and in 2013, and we launched with the Petite Nuage initially and another cheese called Anna Basque. And yeah, we just kind of taken off from there.
Well, congrats on this space, and thank you for having us in today.
Thank you for coming.
Andy's here now. The trip to Belleville's in order, I think.
Yes, yeah, they just opened, they are recently opened that place, and there are 4 new cheese caves that they have. They age all of their cheese in those from months to a year. So
that grilled cheese looked amazing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you said it was sheep Gouda?
Sheep milk Gouda. Yes, and it's award-winning. You saw our trophies there.
Well,
Well, since they have a permanent spot because they're traveling all over, and now people know where to go to get their cheese.
Yeah, and people that are in touch with the Madison cheese, cheese making scene know about the Annas of Landmark, and people, they supported them during their Kickstarter campaign, and now they have this beautiful new location that they can really showcase their cheeses, and you'll see it on menus everywhere in Madison too. But now they have a place to call them.
Right downtown Belleville?
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to miss.
I like that.
Yeah.
The Annas of Landmark.
I know, that's very classy.
Go visit the Annas.
Very classy. Andy, thank you.
Yep.
And you can read more about this story and much more in this month's edition of Madison Magazine. And
We'll be right back.
Take a look at this. Before the Texas-Georgia Sugar Bowl game in New Orleans last night, there was an attempt to get Georgia's mascot, a bulldog named Uga, to say hello to Bevo, a Texas longhorn steer who was behind steel barricades. Oh, dear. Bevo wasn't having it. He charged at Uga, breaking through the barrier in the process. Luckily, the pooch and his handlers reacted quickly, and nobody was hurt. He came very close there.
Oh, boy.
That horn came very
That's
close
not a
to
good
that bulldog.
idea.
No. No. All right. It's Wednesday, January 2nd.
It is, on this day, January 2nd, the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit went into play in 1974 when President Richard Nixon signed the Emergency Highway Energy Conservation Act into law, lowering the speed limit to double nickels. 55 started the CB craze and brought in one of my favorite singers, C.W. McCall, when he came out with Convoy about
A legend was born.
See? All because the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit went into
95 was repealed, and now we're going 75.
Yeah, you don't hear about C.W. McCall either.
No, you don't. It is also Happy New Year for Cat Day.
And you got a couple of kittens for Christmas.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this the camera here?
Okay.
All right.
All right, there's Benicio. He's
This
holding.
is
Who's?
Sir Mochi of the green tea. We just call him Mochi. And this is Princess Annabelle.
You have a happy son there.
Oh, very much so. It's very lively at the house, I should say.
How'd the Christmas tree handle all that?
Yeah, I think the Christmas tree will be gone. So completely destroyed. Kittens. Yes.
You're a brave woman. All right, it's also the start of the new year, and many people resolve to get into shape for the new year. Some generic video. Because of that, it's National Personal Trainers Day, Trainers Awareness Day. Studies show you have a much better chance of sticking to your exercises and weight loss routines if you have a personal trainer. I believe that.
Also, if you work out, too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Baby steps, right?
First, one thing at a time.
That's right. Well, temperatures are on the cold side. We've got some snow on the ground, but I don't think it's going to stick around too long. We got warmer weather in the forecast. I'll have that in just a few minutes. Well, we've got some snow on the ground. We had it just in time for Christmas for some of us, and the rest of us got it on New Year's Eve. But you can see on visible cloud track, you can see that snow right here. That's the white that doesn't move. These are the clouds that we've had today shifting off to the east. A little bit of clearing to the west, and now another little batch of clouds followed by more clearing. And we should see plenty of sunshine beginning tomorrow and lasting for the next several days, and that will warm our temperatures up. The snow that we had this morning is shifted off to the east. Maybe a couple of flurries from that second little batch of clouds, but after that, things really settle down. As far as snow depth, you can see a good portion of the state now. Northern and eastern Wisconsin seeing several inches of snow on the ground, an inch or two through areas south of Madison and over the west central part of the state. And of course, the earlier snowstorm that brought the snow up to northern Minnesota and into far northwestern Wisconsin. And that's the area that really cooled off this morning. Here in Madison, we dropped to 19 degrees, but it was almost 35 degrees colder in northwestern Wisconsin. It's minus 16 in Superior, 15 below zero in Brainerd, Minnesota, and several places in far northern Minnesota hit the 20 below zero mark. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. There were a few breaks in the clouds that kind of filled back in. WISC Skycam, there were a couple of clear spots earlier, and those have filled in. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, looking back toward the west, still showing mostly cloudy skies. High today 25, the low 19, so very close to the averages of 27 and 12, and right now we're at 24 degrees. Skies are mostly cloudy. Winds are out of the southwest, 8 miles per hour, and that drops our wind chill to 15 degrees. Over the next 7 days, average high temperature between 27 and 26. Look where our high temperatures will be. Operation Snowmelt, I think, is going to be back on for the weekend. So 34 on for tomorrow, close to 40 on Friday, 40 or above Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, mid-30s for Tuesday and Wednesday, and maybe around 40 for Thursday before temperatures turn a little colder toward the end of next week. 8 to 14-day temperature outlook. More of the same. Above normal temperatures with the highest probabilities from southern Wisconsin southward. That's about a 50 to 60% chance. Above normal precipitation expected through the southwestern and central part of the country. A little more active storm track, but some of this will be in the form of rain. That will also help to melt some of the snow as well. Temperatures right now in the teens where the snow cover is a little thicker. Northern part of the Midwest, generally 20s elsewhere. And as we check out weather track, that strong jet stream, the polar jet stream, is dipped far enough south to allow us a little shot of cold air. The main jet stream, the subtropical jet stream, feeding more moisture and rain through the southern part of the United States. That storm system will stay to our south, but as it does so, it'll eventually will start to shift the upper level winds from the northern branch of the jet stream more west to east, and that'll bring in milder Pacific air behind this warm front. Temperatures right now on our side of the warm front generally in the 20s. On the other side, 30s, some 40s starting to show up. That's more typical of the weather that we'll see starting tomorrow. You can see on future track the clouds going away later tonight. Then we're back to sunny skies for tomorrow. We'll stay sunny for Friday and probably Saturday as well. And notice the winds also becoming more southerly too. So not only will we miss out on the clouds from the storm system to the south, but we'll also have those mild southerly winds, and that will keep temperatures around 40 degrees, especially as we head toward the weekend. 16 for the overnight low temperature. Cloudy skies this evening will turn partly cloudy overnight. Then tomorrow we're back to mostly sunny skies. It'll be breezy, not quite as cold with a high temperature of 34 degrees. As we check out future track, you can see those southwesterly winds continuing, keeping temperatures in the middle teens by early tomorrow morning. Then high temperatures tomorrow topping out in the middle 30s. For tomorrow night, we drop back down into the mid-20s, so that's about a 10-degree improvement over tonight. And then that gives us a warm head start for Friday. The high temperatures upper 30s to the lower 40s across much of southern Wisconsin. 7 to 10 day forecast. Again, temperatures at or above 40 for the weekend, 42 Saturday, 40 on Sunday, even 40 on Monday with some rain showers. Then look for temperatures to remain at least into the 30s as we head from Wednesday close to 40 on Thursday, and then toward the end of the week, maybe some rain or snow showers and turning a little colder for the following weekend. But that's not conducive to having snow around here.
Now, if you like the snow, you better enjoy it now.
The next couple of days, yeah.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Sure.
A special program in North Carolina offers parents help during the first few months of their baby's life.
30,000 families in Durham have welcomed registered nurses into their homes as part of the Family Connects program. Dr. Tara Narula shows us how it's helping lower health care costs and raise parent confidence.
Nurse Jenny Jensen is delivering some extra care.
I'm going to give her a little listen.
Right to 5-month-old Cora's doorstep. She's tracking pounds and inches along with the parent's stress level.
We have had our challenges.
Can you tell me more about what was going on?
This past Sunday, I just felt sad.
Before they leave the hospital, new parents like Zawadi and Damon Walker are offered free home checkups.
I think we both had the same fear about being left to our own devices with this whole new life.
The first visit comes a few weeks after birth.
Was she sleeping too much with the breastfeeding? Is she getting enough nutrients?
In addition to organizing feeding and sleeping schedules, the nurses address safety conditions in the home, working with the pediatrician if there are health concerns.
We're able to provide evidence-based information for families.
The nurses help parents find daycare, government benefits, even the safest car seat for their baby. And the program is paying off. For every dollar spent, it's estimated $3 in healthcare costs are saved. Emergency visits for babies in Family Connects were cut in half. Duke University's Kenneth Dodge developed Family Connects.
In the long run, we found important outcomes such as lower child abuse rates and lower healthcare costs for emergency room visits for injuries and illnesses.
Even experienced parents are embracing the help. 3 years ago, Megan Dunphy Daly gave birth to her daughter in Washington, D.C. After the birth of son Caden in Durham last May, Megan thought she and husband Jason still had a few things to learn from an expert.
She watched me nurse him and provided advice on that. If I could have had this with my daughter, I would have been a much more confident first-time parent.
Dr. Tara Narula, CBS News.
What a great program that is. And the program's impact is being felt nationwide.
16 communities have sent nurses to be trained in Durham, and 14 more sites are being added soon.
What a lifesaver that is.
As we enter the new year, some have vowed to cook healthier options in 2019.
Today, Consumer Reports is sharing some interesting information about all the different types of cooking oils out there and which ones are the best for you. That's coming up. look at the Union, Memorial Union, a frozen Lake Mendota covered in snow. Boy, winter's here, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Temporarily, it's going to warm up, so
enjoy it.
Yep. Well, there are tons of different types of oils on the market, like avocado, coconut, olive, so it can be overwhelming to choose the right one.
I've got all of those in my pantry. Consumer Reports and Leah Lynchide share the best uses for some of these options.
When Chef Titus Mitchell makes his holiday specialty, Mediterranean lamb meatballs, they are carefully deep fried. The rest of the year, he uses oil more sparingly.
You want the crispy outside and the tender inside. You can cheat on the holidays. It's not like I fry foods every day.
But are some cooking oils actually good for you?
You need some fat in your diet, but you want to look for oils that are made mostly of healthy fats, such as monounsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat. Those fats will help you lower your risk of heart disease and other health conditions.
Here's some CR guidance on which oils you should use and how you should use them. The mild, sweet flavor of coconut oil will enhance your Asian dishes, but it is mostly made up of heart, unhealthy saturated fat, so it's best used in moderation. Here are some other oils you can use that are packed with good fats. First on the list, if you like your meats nicely seared outside, avocado oil might be your go-to. Use it when high heat is called for. It has a nutty, buttery flavor. If you don't want the flavor of the oil to come through in your cooking, canola oil's neutral flavor is a good choice. Use it for everything from baked goods to a delicate fresh fish. Olive oil has a bold flavor range, from grassy, peppery to fruity. Use it to saute veggies or meat, or simply let it stand on its own as a dip for raw vegetables or as a dressing for salads. Deep frying calls for oil with a high smoke point. Safflower oil is a good option. It's also good for general cooking, and its mild nutty flavor is fine for baked goods as well. For WISC News 3, this is Leah Lynchide.
One more tip from Consumer Reports. Instead of using a fat-free dressing on your salad, drizzle it with one of the good oils we just listed, like olive oil, and a little lemon or vinegar.
And editors say the good fat helps your body better absorb the nutrients in your salad. You're a big oil gal.
I am. I just got to learn, though, which one to use for which heat, etc., but I got it all.
All right. Still to come at 4, are you looking for optimism and joyful pursuits?
Maybe all you need is a fresh coat of paint. We'll find out what this year's color is and how it could affect you when Live at 4 continues.
Well, it looks like traffic's still on a holiday-type schedule. This is the view of the Beltline at Park Street. Traffic moving pretty steadily in both directions as far as the main highways. Maybe a little bit of a slowdown eastbound on the Beltline approaching John Nolan Drive. Otherwise, Madison area expressways are in good shape. If you're heading along the Beltline, normal traffic times in both directions, and heading out of Madison about 26 minutes down to Janesville, 16 minutes to Sauk City, and 18 minutes out to Sun Prairie. Pretty average times. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, Gary, thank you. Police officers nationwide are going viral for mourning after a fire brought a donut truck down in a blaze of glory. The truck carrying Krispy Kreme donuts caught fire in Lexington, Kentucky on New Year's Eve. No one was injured, but the fire definitely put the crisp in the Krispy Kreme, and the sweet, sweet cargo could not be saved. So Lexington police posted humorous photos of officers on the scene mourning the loss. And soon thereafter, police departments from around the country responded by tweeting in solidarity. Krispy Kreme ultimately tweeted words of support and offered a glimmer of hope for those left with donut holes in their hearts.
Oh, nice.
Every year, the Pantone Color Institute chooses a color that it expects to appear prominently in industries like fashion, interior, and industrial design.
And each year, we invite Majid Sarmati on the show. He's an expert on color theory and technology. Welcome back and Happy New Year's. And this year's color is?
Pantone Living Coral.
Living
Coral. Yes.
So that's sort of a pink?
Is a pinkish color with the undertone of gold. Is an orangish color. It's an orangish color with a, underlaying tone of gold.
How do they pick the color?
The way that they select color is they look at the trends.
Here we go. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah, they look at the trends and they study the market. They look at the fashion. They look at what is being sold and also the color psychology of what is happening in the country.
Oh, okay. So what should coral do for us, for
it
our
reflects
attitudes?
warmth and nourishment.
Yes, that's what they say.
That's what they say, but...
That's right. It's a vibrant yellow-orange color, as I said, with a golden undertone. It's supposed to help us with prosperity, as Chinese are saying. This color first was used in 16th century. The name coral was used in 16th century. And Chinese are connecting it with longevity, with long life and prosperity.
So we're going to expect this on paint and clothes? And
everything from fashion to painting your house to items that you buy in the market. Everything will be connected to it. And, it also signifies closeness and intimacy.
Really?
And that's the reason they have selected it. Remember that last year's color, it was ultraviolet, and it was, as some people were saying, a bold color and on your face color. And this year is a calm color. It's a color that is welcoming and inviting you. And so connection with friends, relative, it makes you at ease when you're around this color in comparison to ultraviolet of last year, that it was, as you know, last year, economically and politically, we were very up and down. And this year...
We all need to calm down.
Need to calm down. And this is a beautiful color to do that. Now our job is to enjoy it and use it wherever we can. And to the best of our abilities.
Coral ties in order.
Coral, yes.
Yeah.
We'll go shopping.
We'll go shopping. We all need to be calmed down. Thanks for being with us again.
It's a pleasure, and I wanted to wish your audience the Happy New Year, and thank you again for inviting me. Hopefully, we will see you next year again.
You got a date. All right. We'll see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. cool evening.
Yeah, there might be a flurry or two yet for areas north of Madison. Those should be ending. Temperatures right now mid-20s, but you factor in the winds, it feels about 10 degrees colder, and those temperatures will drop off to the upper teens by tomorrow morning, but back to the mild weather tomorrow, mid-30s for tomorrow, sunny skies, and around 40 by Friday.
Wow.
For the first week in January, that's pretty amazing. All right, Gary, thank you. Okay.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, we'll find out what's happening in the 608 this weekend.
And Democrats now hold a majority in the House of Representatives, so they will by tomorrow, and we'll find out what this means for Washington politics from an expert on American politics. We'll be right back.